Congratulations, you are going to Iceland. What are you gonna wear in which season? Hello, and in this video we cover the Icelandic seasons, months, typical weather and the type of clothing to wear when you're visiting. Now, of course, the name itself implies pretty harsh weather, but the reality is, apart from the winter, the weather is actually quite mild. And if it's any consolation, Iceland is amazing in any season. Quick disclaimer, please note that this information is not based on science. It is the result of conversation with my close Icelandic friends and of course my personal experiences from my travel to the land of fire and ice just a week ago. So do remember, the weather can vary between the seasons over the years. Now, like most countries, Iceland has 4 seasons. So you've got your spring, summer, autumn and winter. With Icelandic winter though, and for planning purposes, we are going to split this into winter light and winter in capital letters. One thing to note, Icelandic weather, regardless of the season we're talking about, wind and rain are constant factors, so do bear this in mind when planning your trip, with the wind always being the highest factor to consider and actively monitor when looking at your weather apps. Now, I do recommend you to download, for if you're visiting Iceland for the first time, especially during the winter months, bookmark or download Verdure.is. I'm saying it wrong, I'll link it in the description below for up-to-date weather conditions. This is super important as the weather forecast changes every couple of hours. Now, another handy app is road.is, which is super important for road safety conditions when driving in Iceland. In this video, I make reference to F-roads. F-roads are roads that access the highlands of Iceland. To drive on an F-road, you're required to have a 4x4 SUV vehicle. And for F-roads with rivers or water bodies, you are required to have a 4x4 that is raised. It is also recommended that when driving in F-roads, you have at least a minimum of 2 in case any trouble arises. Now, most car rentals have vehicles that are suitable for F-roads. However, it is specifically important that you request this, particularly if you're driving in winter. Off-season, altered super jeep tours with guides are available in highlands, but altered super jeeps are not available in car rentals. Okay, so let's start with the current season, which is what I am going to call a winter in capital letters. So typically this starts from around December the 10th right through to April the 20th. This season is characterized by short days with daylight sometimes limited to about 4 hours, and not to worry though, as the days get longer as spring approaches. The temperatures are extremely low in February 2022, which is when I went. The climate is quite cold with heavy snowfall, strong winds and ice. So ladies, you want to make sure you've packed your thermal underwear, lined leggings, thick socks, wind and waterproof gear, gloves, hat and scarves go without say, not of course forgetting your thick parka, jacket or coat to put on top. Unless you're visiting from a country with comparable weather, do not drive in this season. Listen, even if you're Lewis Hamilton's cousin, the road conditions in Iceland will challenge even the most seasoned driver. Also remember to pack your sunglasses, as the sunshine is quite low and could make visibility difficult when navigating the road. During this season, do note F-roads will be closed. So if you are planning tours or if you are planning to visit locations along an F-road, sorry, not gonna happen unless you have an SUV or unless you're going as planned of a commercial tour. On the flip side is the Northern Lights galore. Please do download Hello Aurora or whatever app and enjoy this phenomenon. The heavens will open up, show up and show off. The waterfalls, which are a major draw to Iceland, will mainly be frozen, but do not let this deter you, as they are still a wonder to behold. We then move on to the next season, which is spring. So this typically starts from April 20th right through to June 15th. Now it's extremely wet and muddy, and guys, when I say muddy, I am talking Glastonbury levels muddy. Of course, on the positive side, the weather is sunny and the wind tends to start calming the F down, yo. Average temperatures are well comfortably chilling out between 2 degrees and 12. Now, you can't exactly throw on your bikini, but you can at least start shedding off those layers, ladies. During the night time, expect frost and even a touch of sleet and light snow through May. We sadly say goodbye to the northern lights and say hello to budding trees and sap. And the snow backdrop that has characterized the mountains slowly starts to be replaced by a blanket of greenery. F-roads will still be closed. We then move on to summer, which typically starts from June 15th through to August 20th. This is when Iceland starts to show off. The weather in this season is likely to be bright, sunny, and calm. Temperatures will range between 12 degrees and 20 degrees Celsius. The landscape is lush and green. The trees have foliage and are absolutely alive. Wildflowers are blooming. It's blooming marvelous. F-roads will have started opening up depending on the weather. The roads, of course, are safer to drive from visitors coming from countries with warm climate. You will have the opportunity to experience up to 22 hours of sunlight. This happens to be the most popular and therefore most expensive season to travel. Next, we have autumn, which typically ranges from August 20 to October 15. During this time, the days do start getting shorter and the temperature range between 5 degrees and 15 degrees Celsius. The landscape is bathed in rusty autumn colors and normally the weather is mild. Visitors should be prepared for short, swift storms. We say hello once again to the northern lights, and depending on the weather, the F-roads may be closed by the end of the season or sooner, just depending on the climate. From the 15th of October through to the 10th of December, we commence what I like to call winter light. The days are shorter, between 5 to 6 hours daylight. Temperatures are low, between 3 and 7 degrees Celsius, and the weather is constantly hovering around freezing point in a constant cycle of frost, thaw, ice and rain. The winds are starting to get pretty fierce again, and unless you are traveling from a country with comparable climate, it is not recommended to drive as the weather is unpredictable, and normally drivers can be caught off guard when you put the combination of high winds and invisible ice on the roads. During this time, roads are likely to be closed. In addition, here are some things you should consider packing: waterproof winter boots, swimsuit and quick drying towel, crampons for extra grip in the snow, wool or fleece sweaters. Ladies, you cannot have enough wool or fleece layers to layer. Enjoy your trip in the land of fire and ice.